Hello, welcome back. It's Darryl wanting to talk to you about the show me tell me questions that you'll need to answer at the start of your driving test. And I'm going to go through these using my new car, Citroen C3, which we've just acquired in July 2017. So what's the video about? At the start of your test, you're going to be asked two questions. These are just to show that you've got a basic knowledge of how to keep your car safe and sound for the journey, and also how to make sure that you're safe and comfortable to use the car. There are 19 possible questions. You can see these currently appearing on the screen. First of all, the question and the model answer. In this video, what I'm going to do is to take you again through each of these questions and show you the answer for my particular car. But for the most part, this answer will also be the same for other cars with only minor differences. The questions are grouped into sections. The first section I'll go through will be under the bonnet. These are mainly concerned with checking the levels of fluids that are key to the safe running of your car. Second section is tyres. This is about tyre safety and looking after your tyres properly. We're then going to go on to lighting. We've got 3 questions here about how to check that various lights are working, and then a couple of questions about how to switch on particular lights. We're then concerned with brakes, how to test the brakes and how to also know if there are any faults with key parts of your braking system. We then move on to making sure that you can see properly out of the car. So how do we make sure that we wash the windscreens and clear the windscreens? We're then concerned with aspects of safety. So can we be heard in the event of a hazard approaching us, and are we comfortable in the car? This is the current set of questions in use for the driving test, and this will continue to be the case up until the 3rd of December this year. From then they're going to update the questions slightly. Still going to be the same number of questions, however they're going to ask them, instead of 2 right at the beginning of the test, which is what they currently do, they're going to just ask 1, which will be a tell me question. So that will be from most of the selections around describing the under the bonnet and the safety of the tyres, etc. And then there will be 1 further question asked once you're out and about on your driving test. And this will be so that you can demonstrate that you understand and can use the controls inside the car safely, and still maintain safety on the road with proper attention ahead as to what's going on with you, etc. I will update the video later in the year to reflect these changes. So if you like the video, please click like. If you want to see any more, please visit my YouTube channel or my website. And if there are any subjects you'd like me to cover in the future, then please send them in. Okay, so under the bonnet, you'll be asked to open the bonnet. So you open the passenger door and then pull the flap here. That will release the bonnet. The bonnet is held on a catch, which is just to the right of the arrow shapes on the front of the bonnet. So put a flat hand in, lift the catch, and then, having held the bonnet up with the left hand, it's secured using the black bonnet holder here. So underneath the bonnet, we have 4 main things to look for. They're all about levels. So first of all, the brake fluid. That is the yellow cap over here. We're looking for the fluid between the maximum and the minimum mark. Again, remember, you're not going to actually have to do any of this, and you'll be told by your examiner not to touch anything as it could be hot. Engine oil level. That is checked by removing the dipstick just here, and then wiping that clean, putting it back in, taking it out again, and checking that the fluid is between the maximum and the minimum mark. Now, engine coolant. That is the black reservoir here. Again, look on the side between the maximum and the minimum mark. Finally, windscreen washer fluid. That is held in the blue capped reservoir here. You won't be able to check any levels here. The answer there is to just keep it regularly topped up. To put the bonnet down, remove the bonnet stay and put it back into the clip near the front of the bonnet. Then lower the bonnet gently, and when you're about 6 inches away, drop it. It should click properly shut. If it doesn't, just press the very front lightly with your hand until you hear it click. Tyres, you'll have two questions. The first one is, where would you find the information for the recommended tyre pressures? The easiest answer is to say in the manual, although you will also find this information on the inside of the passenger door in this vehicle, and also on other vehicles it might be inside the fuel filler cap. To check the pressure, again the easiest answer is to say that you're going to go to a garage and use a pressure gauge, and basically you'll be doing that by removing this cap here and then using the pressure gauge. In this case we have one here which is handheld, pressing it on and then reading the pressure. The second question will be about the general condition of the tyres. How do you check that they are legal and safe for use on the road? So first of all, legality. We're looking to make sure that they have at least 1.6 millimeters of tread across 3/4 of the width of the tyre. That's the 3 central grooves. You can do that easiest by using the edge of a coin, checking that the milled edge disappears completely into the tread, or we have a proper tyre gauge depth measure here. Put that in, and these are brand new tyres, so they're reading nearly 8 millimeters of tread. The other thing we need to check for is to make sure that there's no cuts or bulges around the outside of the tyre, nothing sticking out of it, no rips or tears. Now we come on to the section about lights. There are 5 questions in all about your lights. The first 3 relate to how you would check your lights, the second 2 about how you would switch certain lighting on. So the very first question is, how would you check your headlights and taillights are working effectively? So basically this is to switch the lights on, which is in this car is located on the left hand stalk. You can see we've got a switch with 3 positions: auto, and then parking lights, and then dipped and main beam. So you would turn it to the dipped and main beam position. If you look at the dashboard, you'll see 2 lights have now come on. So the lights have been switched on. The answer to the question is to switch the lights on, as just described, and then walk around the car to check that all the lights are working. That's the headlights and tail lights, or use reflections, or ask somebody to look for you. So the second question, which has a very similar answer, is show me how you would check that your direction indicators are working. So you switch these on. The easiest way to switch them all on at the same time is to use the hazard warning light, which is the triangle located below the screen. Press that and again get out of the car, walk around to check that all of the indicators are working, ask somebody to help you, or use reflections. And finally, the question would be, how would you check that your brake lights are working? Here, it's simply a case of placing your foot on the foot brake to illuminate the rear lights, and then, as you can't get out of the car, you'll use reflections or ask somebody to help you. Show me how you switch your headlight from dipped to main beam, and explain how you would know the main beam is on whilst inside the car. So again, turn the end of the indicator stalk to the dipped position, which is this green light with the dip beam down, and then to operate the main beam you pull the stalk firmly towards you until the blue light comes on. Show me how you'd switch on the rear fog light and explain when you would use it. So again, with the indicator stalk, turn the switch on the end twice until we get the dipped headlights coming on, and then this ring a bit closer to the steering wheel, flick that up twice, and you'll notice on the dashboard we get a green light and then an orange light. The green light is your front fog lights, the orange light is the rear one. This is the one they're interested in, so it needs 2 flicks up to do that. You would use them when visibility is reduced below 100 metres. So we also have 3 questions about brakes. The first is to tell me how you would check the brakes are working before starting a journey. So basically you would drive off at relatively steady speed, gently apply the brake. You're not expecting the brake pedal to feel spongy or slack. You're expecting the car to stop in a straight line. Secondly, show me how you would check the parking or handbrake for excessive wear, keeping safe control of the vehicle. So again, first of all, apply the foot brake. With the foot still on the foot brake, take off the handbrake, then reapply it, showing that when you release the foot brake, the car remains in position and that the handbrake has not travelled all the way up to the stop, showing that it's not at the end of its working life. The final brake-related question relates to your anti-lock braking system. It's simply, how would you know if there was a problem with your anti-lock braking system whilst driving? The answer to this is that a light would illuminate on the dashboard as shown here, or alternately when you start the car, this light will remain illuminated after the car has started. The next questions relate to making sure you can see properly, and obviously this is crucial to being safe on the road. So the first question is, show me how you would effectively clear the front and rear windscreens using the demisters on this car. This is where this car does differ from quite a few that you could buy now, although obviously there are a lot of cars going down this route, because rather than the traditional controls where you've got rotary switches, the majority of the controls here are actually through the screen. So to do the front windscreen, we need initially to press the button which is to the left of the row underneath the screen. It has a little wedge shape on it. The light will come on. Next to this is the button for the rear screen. So again, press this. It has a square or rectangular symbol on it. Again, the light will come on. Now we need to call up the menu so that we can control the speed of the fan and the heat. So we press this button on the left hand side of the screen at the bottom, and this will change the screen as shown. And then we've got two more controls that are relevant. First of all, the fan, which will already have increased the speed because you pressed the button below. And then potentially we also need to increase the heat. Now the key thing here for your test is that if you're asked to do this, try and return the controls to original positions, else you are going to drive along during your driving test feeling rather hot. Show me how you would clean the windscreen using the wipers and washers. So the right hand stalk pull is towards you firmly, and the wipers will operate and the jets will also spray. Show me how you would check that the power assisted steering is working before starting a long journey. So initially, try to turn the wheel with the engine not running and you'll find a lot of resistance. Now start the car and you'll find that the wheel will move easily. Show me how you check your horn is working. Simply press the middle of the steering wheel and the horn should sound. Now show me how you would adjust your head restraint for maximum protection in the event of an accident. Use the small button located at the top of the seat to allow you to move the head restraint up and down. The head restraint should be positioned so it's as close as possible to the back of your head and in line with your ears or eyes. So that's the end of the video. Hopefully you found it useful. If you did, please click like or send me any questions or requests for any new subjects at www.selectdrivingschoolhalifax.co.uk or to selectdrivingschool@gmail.com. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.